From the Darien High School Stadium field on this Thursday morning, it's an FCIAC girls lacrosse clash as the #1 team in the country, the Darien Blue Wave, welcome in the Wreckers of Staples High School. Hi, everybody. Joined alongside my broadcast partner, John Baccio. I'm Braden Shank. And John, Darien, they had a great out-of-conference slate, but now they shift to their FCIAC opponents and welcome in one of the premier programs in the FCIAC, the Staples Wreckers. What do you think we're going to see this afternoon?
Oh, well, I mean, what I think we're going to see, in all honesty, Darien dominance. Staples, a great program in themselves, but you got to remember, Darien, the #1 team in the country, it's difficult to beat that. I mean, almost every single player on this roster is committed, and not just committed, but it's high D1s, mid D1s. It's just a roster littered with talent, and Staples, it's going to be tough to beat today.
It is indeed, and this is a Darien team surging as of late. They took down the Garden City Trojans on Monday by the final of 20-9, then followed that up with a performance against Fairfield Ludlow 20-1. So they've outscored opponents 40-10 in their last 2 games this week. So this Wave team is rolling. Who do you have your eye on in this Darien team?
Oh, well, this Darien team, I mean, they're, like I just said, they're littered with talent. I mean, I think the person that you got to kind of point out on this roster is Katie Benoit. She's just been a star all season for this squad, going to Syracuse next year, and you know what? That commitment's for a reason. She's been incredible playing that defensive midfield type of role, and I mean, she's everywhere on the field at all times.
She is indeed, and then when you get some help from Chloe Humphrey on the attack, scoring some goals, Darien's a lethal team. As for Staples, they come in 1-1 this afternoon. They dropped their opening contest to the Vikings of East Lyme by the final of 9-6. However, they did rebound in their first FCIAC contest against Fairfield Ward, taking down the Mustangs 19-5, so a 1-1 year for head coach Nicole Jarosa's Staples Wreckers. And who are you looking for in the Staples team?
You know, the Staples squad, you got to point out the obvious. Kira Best, the lefty Davidson commit, stands at 5'4", 125, only a junior, but I mean, she's one of those players that she really stands out on the Staples squad. I mean, she helps out the attack immensely. She can get back and defend a little bit. She does everything on the field for the Staples Wreckers. She
can indeed. She had the big effort on Tuesday for Staples. She scored 5 goals for the Wreckers as they took down the Mustangs en route to their first win of the season. Darien and Staples get an FCIAC conference showdown here. Both of these teams moved up to Division I this year with the new realignment, so the first and only time they'll see each other in regular season. And John, regardless of the outcome this season, both of these teams have already clinched an FCIAC playoff spot. Top 6 right there. They're just playing for seeding at this point. How do you think the new mentality changes the mindset for Darien and Staples?
Oh, well, you know, when you've already clinched, it's all about, okay, I want to get that 1 seed. So I think the mentality, in all honesty, doesn't change all that much. You know that you have your spot, which is always nice, but you still got to play, come out, be competitive every single game, because at the end of the day, you want to be the highest seed that you could possibly be. So I'm going to say, unfortunately, the mentality doesn't change much. You still got to come out here and compete.
They do indeed, and again, the 2 different divisions, they split up. Division I, the 6 premier programs of the FCIAC, Darien, New Canaan, Richfield, Wilton, and Staples. They will be getting, and Greenwich as well. Those will be the top 6 seeds in this year's tournament. Then the next 2 will come from Division II, so teams such as Stanford, Danbury, Ludlow, Norwalk will have to earn their way into the tournament for a 7 or 8 seed, a different dynamic than past years in the FCIAC, but it's definitely good to get some more out-of-conference games on the schedule. Darien taking advantage of it, welcoming in teams such as Summit, New Jersey, Garden City, going to Maryland on Saturday to play St. Paul's. DAF will be making that trip to Maryland. Already looking forward to that, but I got to assume it's been better for the girls out there to get some more out-of-conference competition out there against some of the best teams in the country.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, when you're the #1 team in the country, you got to want to face everybody. And when you're playing the teams of the likes of St. John's, you know, Garden City, excuse me, and then you've also got other teams that you've played prior, Sacred Heart, Greenwich. That was a really close game. When you're such a highly ranked team, you want to play the best competition possible, and it can only benefit this squad. When you're playing other top competition, that's what's really going to get you ready, not only for games like the playoffs here, but also for the college level. I mean, a lot of these guys, seniors going to be graduating, also got some juniors that are committed. It's really just all preparation for what you're going to see in the coming years.
And a lot of this Darien team committed. Their entire starting lineup committed. And these are some big-name programs here, John. North Carolina, Yale, Cornell, Princeton, Dartmouth, all over the board for this Darien team. So Lisa Lindley is breeding a program here in Darien, and she has for the past 28 years. Truly a nationally ranked team in Darien. Again, the #1 team in the country. And Staples will look to dethrone them this afternoon as Darien looks to stay on their throne. You're watching the DAF Media Network. Starting lineups in the opening draw coming right up. Actually, as they're checking the sticks right here, I do want to remind you you're watching the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation, bringing you live coverage of this varsity girls lacrosse match on this Thursday morning. Over school break, a picture-perfect day for some lacrosse. nothing but sun out here. Much better than the weather we've been seeing the past couple weeks here in the Northeast. Truly a beautiful day for some lacrosse.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't get much better than this. Going to be touching mid-80s later today. But right now, I mean, you got a little bit of wind coming in. Mid-60s, low 70s. Can't ask for much better time than this, especially for a huge matchup in the FCIAC.
It is indeed. Both of the teams will look to capitalize on it. Again, still in the early goings of the season. Darien 5-0 on the season. They've breezed through competition with the exception of Sacred Heart Greenwich, who gave the Wave a run for their money, 9-8. It took a free position with 8 seconds left by Chloe Humphrey to get that victory for the Darien Blue Wave. But other than that, they've outscored opponents 81-30 this season. The offense has come to play with the likes of Chloe Humphrey with her 30-plus goals on the season. Hope Shodell been stellar in net, the Duke-bound junior. So this is a Darien team that has just been dominant as of late. Staples will look to slow them down here. And the Wreckers have not beaten Darien as long as the recent records have go, dating all the way back to about 2009. So the Wave have won the last 15 meetings or so between these two schools.
Yeah, I mean, the Wreckers, they've built up a very good program. You're part of the D1, part of the FCIAC for a reason. But, I mean, it's tough going against a school like Darien who's built up this program, especially behind the likes of Lisa Lindley in her 28th year. I mean, Coach Lindley, she had 400 wins in 2017. That was, I mean, 22 years into coaching, 400 wins. That's absolutely absurd.
Not only that, she's up to 489 on her career, coming up on that 500 mark that she should hit this season if she has about another 11 wins in her this year. And for Staples, it's the likes of Nicole Jarosa in her 6th season leading this Staples Wreckers team. Served 4 years as an assistant coach and the former Sacred Heart pioneer, now taking over the reins for the Staples team. And the issue for the Wreckers is every year they get to the FCIAC tournament, they make the quarters, they make the semis, but they are never able to overcome that hump of Darien or New Canaan. Haven't been to an FCIAC championship in quite some time, and they're always getting knocked out by Darien or New Canaan in the FCIAC semis or quarterfinals. So a program that definitely has a lot to prove, but they're always in the mix.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Staples, I said it before, you're Division I at the end of the day, and that's really what matters. A very solid program that has come out to play a ton. And you just got to hope that you get as best competition out of this season as possible, even though it is going to be tough to beat some of these teams yet again.
Referees finishing their stick check. We're just about ready for battle on this Thursday morning. Crowd still filing in here at Darien High School. Probably not the ideal time to be playing for a fan standpoint, 10 a.m. on a Thursday, but definitely fun to get some lacrosse out here on a school break week.
Yeah, you know, might not be the most ideal place, as you said, time and place that is. But you know what? You still got a big CT matchup. So fans must be excited to come out and see this one play.
Plus, for those of you that can't make it out to Darien High School, you're watching the DAF Media Network, bringing you live coverage of this contest. Refs still doing their final rounds. Looks like they're already questioning one stick out there.
That's a stick of Amelia Tarsi.
So that will delay us a little bit here before starting lineups and the national anthem. Again, the stick on it, much different than the boys' game, which there's a lot more restrictions in the girls' game as for the stick. So thus the refs check it before every contest. And it's one of those things you wonder if it's been checked for the first 2 games. How is it not cleared? And then for this game, it's all of a sudden no good. So Tarsi will need to restring that. Again, it has to do with the pocket, with the ball not being able to leave as easily, which helps the attacker on it and goes against the defender quite a lot when that ball is pretty much glued in your stick.
Yeah, absolutely. The girls' pocket, a lot more steep, not as much leeway with it, but still, because of those restrictions, you got to make sure that the pocket isn't as deep because the attacker is at a huge advantage in that case. Looks like they just gave her the okay.
Now they will huddle up. We're just about ready to play. Now the starting lineups in national anthem.
High School Stadium. We have a fun conference matchup today as the visiting Staples Wreckers take on your Darien Blue Wave girls lacrosse team. Now for the starting lineups. First up, the Wreckers, led by head coach Nicole Garosa, assisted by Kathy Shager and Olivia Troy. Number 1, Kira Best. Number 2, Madison Marr. Number 3, Captain Jaden Mello. Number 4, Captain Caroline Cooper. Number 5, Anna Petrosino. Number 8, Nina Bowens. Number 10, Emily Sequeira. Number 11, Amelia Tarsi. Number 15, Captain Shannon Lynch. Number 17, Katie Fitzgerald. Number 18, Ava DeConza. And in goal, number 37, Athenia Sarmiento. And now for your Blue Wave, led by head coach Lisa Lindley, assisted by Carrie Iorfino and Caroline Montero. Number 2, Captain Chloe Humphrey. Number 4, Kelly Holmes. Number 5, Maggie Bellissimo. Number 6, Cece Chandler. Number 7, Morgan Massey. Number 8, Colette Quinn. Number 10, Sadie Stafford. Number 16, Jillian Vaught. Number 17, Captain Ryan Hatgood. Number 23, Kate DeMark. Number 85, Captain Casey Benoit. And in the cage, number 1, Hope Schudel. We now ask that everyone please rise and turn your attention to the flag by the concession stand for the playing of our national anthem.
The anthem and the starters have been introduced. We're just about ready on this Thursday afternoon. Head coach Lisa Lindley and Nicole Gerosa get their respective sides rallied up. And John, what's one key to the game for both teams on this Thursday?
One key part for let's start with the home side, Darien. One key part for them, just get off to a strong start. If you can establish dominance early in this game, then you'll be fine. If you can get some goals in early, maybe get off to a quick little 3-0, 4-0 start like you would expect this offense to be able to do, then it should be smooth sailing from there on out. So it's just start early, come out strong, and then as soon as you establish the team that you are, the number 1 team in the country, that is, it should be smooth sailing from there. As for Staples, it's got to be just defend this insane attack. I mean, it's tough to go up against a team like this who's 40-10 in their last 2 matchups is goals let up. So really, it's all about just defending the attack. When you put up 40 goals in 2 games, it's clear that there's a strong point there. You got to defend people like Chloe Humphrey, and that's going to go a lot on the defense today of the guys of the people of Staples, and then also a lot to do for Athena Sarmiento. I mean, in net, it's never tough facing really, really great opponents like this.
Sarmiento, the first-year starter, the junior for this Staples team, taking over for Alice Anderson, the other goalie on this Staples roster. So Sarmiento, the first-year varsity player, will get the start. And looks like there's some confusion on who's going where. So Sarmiento will trot to the other side. Nonetheless, the teams take their side. Staples, they will be in their visiting Navy Blues this afternoon with the white numbering. Darien and the home whites with the blue numbering. Colette Quinn will stand ready in the draw circle to meet her opponent, Katie Fitzgerald's.
And the first draw here is going to be crucial because if you can win that and, like I said, establish the dominance that as a #1 team you expect to do, if Colette Quinn can come down with this one, then you can really start to set the tone and establish a pace here today of you win the draw, control, go, score.
First draw up in the air, and whistle will be blown. Violation against the Blue Wave, so the ball goes to Kira Best and the Wreckers.
A quick strip and beautifully played by Sadie Stafford. The 5-star Duke commit to get the Darien Blue Wave up and running on the O.
That's exactly what Staples was looking to avoid right there. The first possession, turning it over to Darien. Now the Wave on the offense. Stafford right back over to Quinn. Again, a Darien team that can kill you with any one of their 7 attackers out there. Humphrey, she had 7 goals on Monday in the win against Garden City, New York. Whistle blown. We'll see our first free position of the afternoon, and it goes to Anna Von Kennel, the freshman. Sole freshman on this team, looking to put Darien on the board. Von Kennel, she scores! Anna Von Kennel gets the Blue Wave on the board, and not even a minute in, Darien's up 1-0.
And that's an easy one right there for Von Kennel. I mean, straight off the jump, straight to the net. Easy said and done.
Goal scored by
a Darien team that capitalizes on their free positions, and Von Kennel gets Darien on the board. 1:03 into this contest, the freshman for Darien. And Staples now finds themselves down 1-0.
And this is exactly what I was saying earlier. I mean, Darien, such a strong side that you kind of got to expect this sort of thing heading into the game. And now they do set the tone.
Now Staples needs to try to keep themselves in this game here. Draw will be going to Chloe Humphrey and the Blue Wave. Humphrey, her first draw control of the afternoon. Now right back to Von Kennel. And that is a goal, a one-timer to Chloe Humphrey. And she finishes on the goal.
Don't let Humphrey get hot now. That is not a friendly sight for the Staples Wreckers. And Darien, a quick 2-0 lead. Here it is again. Humphrey, a nice cut to get inside, stay out of the crease, and right on the doorstep, bring it home.
Sarmiento not able to save that one. Humphrey's got another goal to her name, the team's leader in goals this season. 25+ to enter the play today. And now Darien goes up 2-0. And the important thing for Staples is the defense needs to come to play now. They can't go down by too much. They want to try to avoid that running clock because this is a Darien team that is lethal when they have a lead. Back in the draw circle, and it goes to Colette Quinn, the Princeton-bound Darien senior. Out of Von Kennel. Von Kennel had the first for Darien. Jillian Vaught behind the net. Moving it along the perimeter, Colette Quinn right back to Sadie Stafford.
Darien just going to set up their O. They've really found a lot of success from right in the middle of the fan. And Staples just hasn't been able to contain Darien's really nice ability to cut. And here it is, Colette Quinn.
How about that? Finessing 2 defenders, going right between them, going to her strong hand, and Colette Quinn finishes for the 3rd goal for Darien. And just like that, the Waves got their 3rd of the contest. Colette Quinn, the Darien senior, bouncing it past Sarmiento.
Colette Quinn.
And I mean, easy does it, goes through 2 defenders, draws even a 3rd. But the senior Colette Quinn has no fear getting straight home.
For Colette, that is her 8th goal on the season. Usually scores them from the free position, but gets a good one on the drive right there. DeMarc will come into the midfields. Colette Quinn able to get the straight draw control on it. The second draw control for Colette Quinn. And Kira Best so far has been kept at bay. This Darien offense is going to continue. Vaught now. One timer to Holmes, and she scores. Kelly Holmes making it look easy. And the junior committed to Yale as her first in the ball game.
And Kelly Holmes, you know, she's the one that knocks it down, but Jillian Vaught is really the one that made the play right there. You're going to see it right here. Vaught getting past defenders, flicks it in, and that's an easy one straight into the cage.
Number 4
for Kelly Holmes.
Kelly Holmes, she had 5 goals against Garden City on Monday, and she's got her first in this contest. Chandler will change her stick and head back to the defensive end. So far, Darien has dominated on the draw controls, and it makes all the difference in games like this when Staples doesn't even get an offensive touch.
Their only offensive touch today, the first possession of the game, they got the draw control, but then an easy turnover for Darien after a few quick passes. That would lead to a mistake, and right here, Darien look like they're going to get the draw control. Yet again, they are.
DeMarc's hustling for it, and Chloe Humphrey finally able to field it. So Darien, another draw control for the Wave. DeMarc applied the pressure, wasn't able to grab it. Instead, it was Chloe Humphrey.
And it's Lacrosse 101. If you can get possessions and you can score, you're going to win games. And Darien basically yet to lose a possession today.
And the Wave, a team that has been so dominant this year, and they continue that trend right here. Especially when you got the #1 player in the country, Chloe Humphrey, leading the offense. She's committed to North Carolina to play for the Tar Heels. Will be joining her sister, Nicole Humphrey, on that Chapel Hill team.
And you know, it's a nice name, but it's an even better player. Here's Quinn.
Again, Colette Quinn putting one up for Darien. Her second of the contest, and the All-FCIAC honoree a year ago now puts Darien up by one more, 5-0.
Colette Quinn, pure dominance today, and let's take another look.
Darien goal scored by number
5-0.
8.
Darien leads. Quinn has her second of the contest in just 4 minutes, not even 4 minutes in. This Darien team is starting to run away with this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is not what you want to see out of Staples. I mean, when you can't get draw controls, it's quite simple. You're not going to win games, and they have yet to get more than one today. Darien has just been completely dominating, and you even see on the right side, or you can't see it, but on the right side, there is another goalie warming up for Darien, or excuse me, for Staples.
And the draw control will go to CC Chandler and the Wave. So Darien controls another possession. Now Casey Benoit. And John, here's where it gets interesting when you get the FCIAC playoffs later this month. Staples, the worst they can do is the 6th seed, which means if you're the 1-2 seed, or actually the 3 seed even, you get to play these Staples Wreckers in the first round, which might be a better matchup than playing the top team in Division II when you got to take on Ludlow or Danbury, who had to earn their way to be the 7 or 8 seed. So how does that affect the mentality of now the 3 seed, and what's the importance of that?
Oh, well, I mean, the 3 seed's huge. You would much rather play a team that you've already played once this year, and although the D1 and D2 teams do match up from time to time, you don't want to go against a team that really has earned their spot in that playoffs. And I mean, you can almost think of it as a Premier League soccer type of thing where there's players battling for relegation, Division II teams battling to come up to the Premier League, and now you have to play them in a playoff matchup. It's never a good sight, especially when you have, you know, teams like, just making a comparison this year with Bournemouth. They're middle of the table right now. They're putting together a phenomenal season, and they earned their way to this spot. It's totally deserved, and that's exactly what a team like Darien, or, excuse me, what a team like Staples would not want to be seeing first round.
And now Darien back on the surging offense. Von Kennel slowing it down. The cut in front of the cage. Colette Quinn, can she get her hat trick? Bouncing it just wide. Saramento might have gotten a stick on it. Instead, the possession will go to Staples as they look to set up another offense. Still no shots for the Wreckers this afternoon.
And that's a really nice coaching play right there. Although it is going Staples' way, Darien applying a lot of pressure early on into the attack. You never want to allow the other team to clear. And Lindley double-teaming the immediate ball handler. And now it forces Staples to move around the rock. And if you got one player that's a little bit too selfish, that's a turnover every time.
That's something head coach Lisa Lindley has developed over the last 28 years leading this Darien team, those defensive tactics, and one of the most accomplished head coaches in Connecticut, really Connecticut in the nation's girls lacrosse. The over 400 career victories, going for 500 this season. And when you got coaches like Jeff Braymeyer leading the boys and Lisa Lindley leading the girls, it's a pretty deserving #1 ranking for Darien. Kelly Holmes dumping it off down low, and Vaught finishes through the 5-hole. Jillian Vaught with the goal. The Villanova commits, and Darien's got their 6th.
Vaught with her 2nd, and another easy finish that's set up from a really nice play by by Kelly Holmes. Holmes finding her way inside, gets to the crease and just dumps it right off for a goal line extended high goal from Jillian Vaught.
Vaught's got her 2nd. Staples will make the goaltending change to number 45. Don't believe we have that on our roster, so we'll work to get you that. But Sarah Mentor, her day is done, gives up 6 goals in the first 6 minutes, and then head coach DeRosa will make the change. A Staples team that had a lot of offensive firepowers a year ago. You look at Mackenzie Didio, her sister Mia Didio, all FCIAC honorees, now playing for the Delaware Blue Hens. They had the all FCIAC Defender of the Year, Jess Leone, committed to Bucknell. She also graduated, and they also lost their goaltender, Sarah DiGiovanni, to Franklin Ann Marshall to play for the Diplomats. So John, has a team like Staples adjust from losing that many talented seniors and now go into the future of the program?
Well, you know how you adjust? You let it play out. I mean, obviously, a huge stacked roster last year with a bunch of graduating seniors that are committed to play at the college level. It's going to be tough to rebound in just one season, going from that level of talent to just one committed player on the entire roster. And that's no knock on Staples. It's just that a rebuild like this takes time, and they have to give it a year or two before they get back to that top level of competition with a lot of young talent, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, littered throughout this Staples roster. You just got to give it a little bit of time.
You do indeed. A team that is very heavy on the underclassmen. 5 freshmen, 7 sophomores on this Staples team to go with their 5 seniors and 9 sophomores or 9 juniors. So a team that definitely has a lot of players coming back and a lot of room for head coach Nicole Gerosa to build on for the future of Staples girls lacrosse. And again, when they're in Division I, they don't need to qualify for the tournament. They're automatically qualified by just being in Division I. So a little bit of an advantage, and it definitely helps Staples in years like this. But yet again, it is in lieu of playing 3 other of the weaker teams in the conference. They get to schedule 3 more out-of-conference teams, and a good cut down low, and Humphrey going just wide. So a good stop by the Staples defense, and the goalkeeper on that one turning away Humphrey.
Yeah, like you said, having the ability to play a few extra out-of-league games is crucial for a team like this. You know, you're not just seeing the teams that are in your conference, and Connecticut girls lacrosse is not something that you want to mess with. So when you're able to play teams out of state, you know, you get a different sense for the other teams that are out there, and you kind of get to compare yourself to those and say, you know what, we do stack up pretty well throughout the country. It's just that we play in a pretty tough division, unfortunately.
They do in Staples. They've gone upstate to schedule some opponents against the Southern Connecticut Conference's top teams. You look at the Cheshire Rams, the Guilford Grizzlies, the Amity Spartans. They played East Lyme, the Vikings, to open up. So they're playing some in-state competition that they might see in a potential state tournament down the line, especially in that first round or so. So some strategic scheduling on head coach Nicole Gerosa's part. And if you're given the extra 3 games, you might as well make use of them.
Yeah, 100%. And Nicole Gerosa, I mean, she's got no shortage of lacrosse experience, an all-conference defender at Sacred Heart University for 4 years. Now over here, she's had over 5 years as a head coach. So, I mean, she knows the ways and the build-arounds for scheduling here at Staples.
And especially when you play at a program like Sacred Heart, one of the best in Fairfield County, over in Fairfield, Connecticut. They held the state championships there last year at Sacred Heart University. I don't think they're going back there, although they might. Still working on a contract, I believe. That would be cool, though, playing a state championship at a college venue like that, especially a big-time Division I school. And there's a goal for Sadie Stafford. Talk about Division I. The Duke commit for Darien gives them their 7th in the ballgame.
Stafford stands at 5'9", towering over the other players on the field, and she's able to cut right through defenders and look over the likes of Nina Bowens and put one right past the goalie in the cage.
7-0. Darien leads Staples. We're going to step aside with the Staples timeout, and we'll be right back on the DAF Media Network. We're back on the DAF Media Network after the Sadie Stafford goal, 7-0. Darien leads Staples. We did get word it's Morgan Tam, the junior, or Tam Morgan, the junior for Staples in nets. Number 45. We were told she was number 31, but that changed last minute, so our apologies. Nonetheless, the draw. Stafford gets pushed down. Foul against number 17, Katie Fitzgerald.
And Darien, a huge lead already, 7-0, which is not a great sight for Staples so far. But, you know, Staples, you just got to play to the best of your abilities in this one. Like we said before the broadcast, it's never easy going against the #1 team in the country, so you just got to play your best game that you can and see how much you can claw this one back.
And Staples, they got to get some offense going first. They have not had a shot against Darien. The offensive likes of Kira Best have been kept at bay, essentially, the Davidson-bound junior for Staples, but that's a good thing for Staples. She's just a junior, as well as Madison Maher, so they're both coming back next year for the Wreckers. As for Darien, they graduate the likes of Chloe Humphrey, Colette Quinn, Kate DeMark, Ryan Hapgood, a lot of others, Casey Benoit in the midfields. Darien along the perimeter. There's Ryan Hapgood. Hapgood, her third game back from injury, and the goal will be called off. She'll be awarded a free position, however, looking to get it back.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players being lost in this Darien squad. Let's take one more look at it. Hapgood just blitzing by, and that's an easy one.
And Hapgood converts on the free position. The senior committed to Dartmouth has her first in the contest. The All-FCIAC first teamer a year ago, just her third game back from injury, and she's got a goal in this one.
If you want to win games, you got to convert from free position as well. If you're given that sort of opportunity, scoring is crucial, and that's their second one of today. The senior captain makes do with what she's got, and from the free position, blitzes by everybody, locks it in.
This is a Darien team that's really where they capitalized most this season from the free positions. You look at a player like Chloe Humphrey, who has not been denied yet this season from the free position. Then you throw players like Hapgood, Stafford, Quinn on there from the free position, and this is a dangerous team when it comes to scoring goals from the 8-meter.
I mean, you talk about the 8-meter. This is a dangerous team when it comes to scoring goals in general.
That's a good point. Stafford had Fitzgerald back in the draw circle. Ground ball fielded by Mello, and the senior captain will draw a whistle. Yellow card will be handed out to Casey Benoit. So Staples will go player up.
Yeah, Benoit, I mean, that's a textbook foul. Check straight to the head. And, you know, she's lucky to get off with a yellow, but got to give it. Staples now going to go woman up.
So the Wreckers looking to convert on their first player-up opportunity of the contest. Definitely would be a big conversion if Staples can get one on the board here, trailing by 8. Mello moving it along. Turned away, intercepted by Colette Quinn. Quinn is surging downfield. Off to the wing. Kelly Holmes now, keeping it moving. Vaught, the finishing piece. Stopped by Morgan. Tam Morgan makes her first stop of the ball game. Staples not able to clear it, and the ball will stay with the Wave.
Yeah, and you know what? That's just a really tough Staples offensive possession right there. Jaden Mello, the senior captain, had a textbook opportunity to convert a goal that would be their first of the game. Still down 8-0 here, and Mello just gives it up. She had an open man on the wing, just couldn't find her, and it gets intercepted. And now Darien buy themselves another offensive possession after their textbook defense.
You're going to watch your Darien's going to slow the ball down. No shot clock. Benoit in the box, so they're going to ice off that penalty, get Benoit back on the field, get the extra attacker, especially when you're in no rush. If this was the college game and you had the shot clock, you have to play it a little bit more strategically when you have the 90 or 60 seconds on you. But in a high school game, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and Staples not going to go out of that 12-meter arc. Really no reason to in this one so far. Get your man. Let Darien get their man up, because if you make a fatal mistake, that's not what you want to see Darien go against, because they could capitalize in a second.
Hapgood just waiting for the opportunity to enter back play. Darien, the opening drill when you get the ball, just pass with a partner. That's what Darien's doing right now, moving it along the perimeter. 13:08 left. Darien now ready to run some offense. Starting to get the legs moving. Kelly Holmes had a good cut. They don't pass it. Now to Holmes at X. And Benoit is freed from the box. So both teams back to even strength. Hapgood enters play. Darien will stack. Stafford moving it right back behind the net. Holmes finds a cutter. Losing it to the net, and the referee will assess a yellow card. That one against number 17, Katie Fitzgerald. So Stick got a little too much trying to defend.
Yeah, and that's a really nice play by Jillian Vaught. Cut inside, make your defender make a play. When you get by, now it's either you're catching it and scoring, or the defender behind you has to either foul or somehow check it out of your stick at that point. But a really nice cut in order to get them a player up.
Jillian Vaught from the free position. She'll retreat it back. Again, a smart play being player up. You might as well utilize the time rather than just go straight to the cage. Darien is hungry for another goal. Finds Humphrey. Humphrey makes a nice move. Bounces it and scores. Chloe Humphrey adds another to her name. And Darien now goes up 9-0.
Humphrey faking high, going low. And Easy does it with the finish. Get by one defender. Madison Moore, the captain. But Humphrey, just a really, really nice play to get by one of Staples' best players and knock it home to make it 9-0.
Darien just one goal shy of initiating the running clock. Would be only the third time this season they did it. They put Manhasset in it late in the second half. They put Fairfield Ludlow in it in the first half. Then they put Garden City in it with a couple minutes left to play. And again, once you hit that running clock, the clock doesn't stop, only for timeouts.
And unfortunately, you may not see much of those today.
Well, we already saw one.
We did. But with a running clock, slightly less likely.
Especially the big difference between the high school and the collegiate game, the quarters to halves. The high school still playing 2 25-minute halves. The collegiate game moving to 4 10-minute quarters. Also affects the timeouts. The collegiate timeouts reset at the half. High school, you get 2 for the game. Colette Quinn thought about it, retreats it back out. Fitzgerald's still in the box with the non-releasable penalty. So Darien's still a player up.
Darien turn it over, and Staples finally find themselves with a good opportunity here. They've only had 2 possessions in the offensive third today. So they have to capitalize right here. But first, you have to get the clear.
And this has been the tough part. Darien riding very well. Staples just needs to get it to that 30 and pickpocket it at the 32. That was Lynch not able to bring it over, the senior captain, Shannon Lynch. And now Darien's got numbers. Humphrey had Von Kennel, instead keeps it to herself, goes to her offhand, and she scores. Going top left corner, Chloe Humphrey with the goal.
And I mean, you don't expect much less from the 5-star UNC commit. That's a beautiful dodge move to get to her left hand. Fakes the pass, dodges, goes the other way, and slots it top right. And there's not much you can do for Tan Morgan in goal there.
A big goal for Chloe Humphrey. Initiates the running clock, so you see it on your screen. That clock will not stop. Fitzgerald still in the box on the penalty, the 2-minute penalty, and Staples a player down still, so that definitely doesn't help their cause. Nonetheless, back in the draw circle, Stafford and I believe Best. Best trying to track it down, and she gets the ground ball before pushed by Casey Benoit. She's got to be careful. She has 1 yellow card already to her name, 1 more, and her afternoon would be done.
Yeah, that was a risky one from Benoit, checking from the back. And it was sold perfectly by Kira Best.
Best, the Davidson Wildcat commits. She'll be heading off there in 2 springs. First comes back to play 1 more for Staples next year. The only commit on this Wreckers team. Under 10 minutes left in this opening half. Braden Shank, John Baccio with you. So glad you can be with us on the DAF Media Network. Our first of 2 lacrosse games this afternoon from the DHS Stadium field. The girls take on Staples. Then at 1 o'clock, John, the big one. The Darien boys take on the Chaminade Flyers from Long Island in a premier game for both teams.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one later today. Chaminade, a top 10 team in the country according to multiple sources. Some have them as high as 5. Darien headed into this season as a top 25 ranked team. Have dropped off slightly since. They're 3-1 on the year. And I mean, I think mainly the reason that they have dropped off is because of their loss to Manhasset, 11-2 on Long Island just a few days back. But, I mean, a stellar season it has been either way. When you knock off the #1 team in the country in Brunswick on a game winner with just 2 seconds remaining, I mean, you always got to look at the positives. It's going to be a big one today.
It is indeed, and Brady Picorni, the heroics from the 30-yard line, that was something that the goalkeeper Williams just didn't see the ball on and under the lights at Darien High School. Luckily for PJ Verdi and the Flyers, they're playing in the daylight, so it should be easier to see the ball. Although that game's at 1 o'clock, and we're focusing on this girls' game right now, an FCIAC clash between Darien and Staples. Looking at the Division I standings, all 6 teams in Division I won their opening FCIAC game, and a goal right there for Darien. They get their 11th, but again, all those games were against Division II opponents, so it does kind of show you the divide that so far Division I is 6-0 overall against Division II, and Division II is 0-6, as the Wave will pull out the jailbreak substitution, bringing out Brindley Vrooman, Summer Galende, Kate Min, and one other player out there they're bringing in. Quinn Kennedy, number 18. So Casey Benoit, DeMarc, Massey, and Bellissimo all relieved for the day. And it's always good to give your underclassmen some playing time in games like this.
Oh, 100%. I mean, when you have a good amount of players on the roster and a lot of them extremely good, tough to take out of games, you want to get these younger people experience because at the end of the day, you're not going to have the likes of, a Chloe Humphrey, a Casey Benoit forever. It's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to a roster without those top recruited players. But either way, you have to get it done, and that's why getting these younger players this experience so early is crucial.
Draw control won by Fitzgerald and the Records. Katie Fitzgerald, the sophomore. How about this for a fun fact? Katie is a dual citizen of both the United States and Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, it's a fun fact for you.
That's a great one.
Always wanted to go to Ireland. Can't say I've ever been, though.
I haven't either. You know what? The furthest I've been is Spain.
Still pretty cool, though, going over into Europe.
Yeah. I'm part Portuguese, so, I get over there from time to time.
And now Staples looking to get over onto the board in this one. Still trailing 11-0. This is always fun to bring some fun facts into these games.
Always, Braden. Just thank you so much.
Although I'll never forget, I did a game here in the fall. I brought up the fact somebody knew how to solve one of those Rubik's Cube things.
Oh.
Then I humiliated myself saying there were 6 sides on a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, that's tough. That's not a good look.
Actually, no, I said there was 9 sides when there's 6 sides on it. So I didn't know how many sides were on a Rubik's Cube. I still have no clue.
It's 4 around, one on top, 1 on the bottom. Yeah, you got 6.
So I'm like, yeah, this kid knows how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And I'm like, it's tough with the 9 sides on there, how to solve it.
Oh,
my color commentator's like, are you serious? And I didn't realize it until the next day at school when people were telling me there's only 6 sides on a Rubik's Cube. And I'm like, I probably should have researched that.
Maybe before getting into that whole conversation, it would have been a little bit useful, but I can't say I know how to solve a Rubik's Cube myself, so that makes 2 of us.
I don't know. There's so many colors on there. It's so tough.
It gets difficult. It definitely gets difficult.
Nonetheless, Darien will look to go in with Katie Bloomer. Bloomer committed to Cal Berkeley, and a shot and a goal. Jillian Vatz gets the 12th for Darien. And this Wave team is showing no sign of slowing down. They've got their foot on the gas pedal, and they're not looking back.
Yeah, Darien, I mean, a really solid possession right here. Now up 12-0 in this one. And, I mean, it's just been a Blue Wave masterclass today.
Plus, you look at this team like Darien, they're bringing their subs in, their second string, but it consists of players like Katie Bloomer, committed to Cal, Kate Mann, committed to Bowdoin, Brindley Vrooman, committed to Michigan, going to the backup goalie, Elizabeth Ganella, going to Princeton. So these girls are still committed to some of the best programs in the country to play lacrosse.
It's just absurd to think that someone going to Princeton isn't even starting, isn't even in the running for starter. I mean, stuff like this is the kind of thing that you will get with such a highly touted team in high school lacrosse. You kind of see it at Darien as well, on the stage of boys lacrosse as well, with Darien, with the likes of Chaminade, just the 2 that are top of mind. St. Anthony's is another one that comes to mind at the men's level. They have a 44-man roster, 33 total commits.
And you factor out the juniors and the freshmen that physically can't commit, and you're only looking at, maybe 35 guys that are eligible to commit?
And I forget to put aside, 28 of them are Division I. Wow.
That's something that was it Keith Weiserek over there at St. Anthony's? He's definitely built a strong program in Huntington Beach, and the Friars are one of the best in the country.
Yeah, why? I mean, the coaching staff over at St. Anthony's is absolutely absurd. You've got possibly the greatest lacrosse coach of all time coaching their JV squad in Mike Chanenchuk. He's the top coach over at Express Lacrosse, which is a big club team on Long Island. And then Keith Weiserek, his dominance has been unbeknownst to any team on the island besides maybe a Farmingdale. But either way, he's their longest tenured, winningest coach of all time. And Lisa Lindley over here looks to do the same with this Darien girls lacrosse squad.
She is indeed, and we were talking before the game. Saturday, Darien goes to St. Paul's, Maryland. They're playing that game at the USA Lacrosse headquarters. Want to take a guess who's an inductee of the USA Lacrosse Hall of Fame?
I don't know, Braden. Let me know.
Lisa Lindley. And apparently we were talking before the game. She's got like a locker apparently in a locker room with her name on it, and she's trying to get her team in that locker room before the game.
I mean, that's crazy to think about. Lisa Lindley, just an incredible talent, and if this is true with that locker in her name, I mean, it really just shows the talent that Darien has brought in with this 28-year-long head coach that, I mean, captured over about 10 Connecticut Coach of the Year awards, almost nearing 500 wins in her 28 years, could possibly hit it this season. It has been nothing but greatness from Coach Lindley.
It has indeed, and even you look at the other generations, her son Kevin, a star at Loyola, Maryland for the Greyhounds, just recently drafted into the PLL, one of the best lacrosse players in the country, and it just runs in the family, Lisa Lindley, and the lacrosse is just in her blood, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a common theme for all top-level lacrosse players, coaches, all of that. Lisa Lindley, I mean, one of the people at the top of the list, but if there's one good lacrosse player, there's probably going to be multiple in that family, and the same goes. The archetype is built for Lisa Lindley and her family.
Her other son, Peter, playing at Roanoke. And again, it helps when you're a former UMass Minutemen star lacrosse and field hockey player in college.
Yeah, dual athlete is nothing to mess with. But lacrosse was the one that she chose to coach over here at Darien.
And that's a goal. Kira Best gets the Staples Wreckers on the board. The Davidson commits, overcomes the hump, and the Wreckers have their first in the ball game.
And that's one way to do it. Kira Best getting straight to the rack and putting it home for their first goal of the game. See it right here. Blows by the defender, slots it down low, and that's an easy one for Kira Best, the Davidson commit.
Best had 5 on Tuesday against Fairfield Ward. She's got the first for the Wreckers, the junior. And Staples gets their first in the contest. They're looking at, well, they're hoping that will spark some momentum in their girls and get some rally going. But Nicole Jarosa has a lot of work to do at halftime, trailing by 11.
Yeah, big job to be done, and it's tough to do it against the likes of the Blue Wave, but never say never.
Again, 25 minutes left in that second half. You just need to score 2 more, take off the running clock, and then all of a sudden you're in business. I know I probably just jinxed us by saying that, so I'm going to knock on some wood if I can find some.
I don't think there's any around here, but you'll find it.
At least Darien hopes I knock on some wood. Staples, they want to get some goals going in this second half. Kata Biddable getting the touch, the senior committed to Holy Cross. The fun fact I like to say about Holy Cross, their head coach, a very talented lady by the name of Amanda Belichick. Want to take a guess who she's related to?
I'm going to take a wild guess here and say Coach Bill.
That is correct, as Paige Flanagan scores for Darien, the senior on this roster. Gives Darien the 12-goal lead right back. But yeah, head coach Amanda Belichick over at Holy Cross, the only daughter of legendary Patriots head coach Bill Belichick. Had the pleasure of calling their opener at Fairfield University a couple weeks ago. Very nice lady.
Fair. You know, I'm not going to say that I'm in love with Coach Belichick being from Long Island. You know, I'm not necessarily a New England sports guy, but talent recognized talent, and Coach Belichick, one of the best in the game, and the Holy Cross women's team, also one of the best in the game.
It is indeed. That will take us to the end of the first half. A dominating performance by the Darien Blue Wave. They lead Staples 13-1 on the DAF Media Network. We're going to step aside and be back with second half action between the Wreckers and the Wave.
The Darien Foundation was founded in 1998 by Richard and Maureen Chilton, and the thesis behind that founding was to bring technology to the Darien public school systems. And that launched us, and that got us going, and through technology and capital project initiatives, we've now funded over $5.5 million over the last 24 years to build a better Darien.
Our board really likes to get involved and assist the partners that we collaborate with, whether it's a grant for a youth project or a grant from a community service, schools, the police. Often they come to us with ideas that we help them bring to fruition.
The Darien Foundation recently awarded the Darien Police Department 2 grants. One was for laser shot and the other for Faro technology. Laser shot technology is based on decision making. It may come down to using their firearm, but in reality, we would like them to talk the situation down where you use less lethal force, and this program allows us to do that.
Police, drop the gun!
Faro technology gives us a 360-degree view, catching all the points we need to catch in our accident scene. It also takes a lot less time. This allows us to open up roads, get traffic flowing a lot quicker than we ever used to be able to. We can also map the inside of buildings. We can use it at outdoor crime scenes, indoor crime scenes. It's really used for a plethora of investigations. It's a tool that most other departments may not have their hands on just yet, and thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have that technology.
At Home in Darien is a nonprofit organization that helps senior citizens to remain living independently in their home and in the community. We provide important services to help them do so, such as transportation. Thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have this amazing new van, and we are so excited about it and what it'll do for the community.
From all standpoints, this is going to be a real improvement in the services we provide, both in terms of safety and comfort. The Darien Foundation is important to the community in the scope that they reach out to answer needs.
Post 53 is the town's ambulance service. We respond to over 1,600 emergency calls a year. We're a vital service that has been here for 51 years. The technology upgrades provided by the Darien Foundation has been a game changer for us. It's allowed us to improve our training. It has helped us hone our skills. You don't know how important an ambulance is until you actually need it. Thanks to our partnership with the Darien Foundation, who's provided all of this technology and several grants throughout the years, we're able to continue to be prepared, to be well-trained and well-staffed, to respond 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whenever you need it.
The Darien Foundation is really excited to be able to launch a new program for the Darien schools, which will benefit students K through 12 in all 7 schools. This is the new robotics program, which will be an extracurricular opportunity for students to build robots, compete against other leagues, and collaborate together.
Our robotics program is going to benefit students in so many ways. In regular classes, students are always looking for the right answer, that there's only one way to answer something. Robotics is completely different. In robotics, you learn that there are multiple solutions to every problem. You learn that you have these obstacles that you have to overcome. You have to really be a creative problem solver. And most importantly, you need to persevere.
Early on in the process, the Darien Foundation reached out to administration and the offer to provide funding for a project, and it just dovetailed beautifully to the goals of the strategic plan. I look forward to continue to work closely with the Darien Foundation, both on this project and other projects down the line.
We welcome ideas for possible grants. We'd like to do grants that promote and strengthen our community. Sometimes it's from an organization, sometimes it's from our emergency service partners, or it's from the Darien Public Schools. One of our most popular grants, which was the Playground by the Sound, came to us from 4 Darien moms who said, let's get together and figure out how to build this.
Thanks to the generosity of our board members and officers, every dollar you give to the Darien Foundation goes directly to the grants that we're supporting. I invite all of you to help us move our community further and support the Darien Foundation.
Celebrating and supporting Darien athletes. That is a simple mission of the Darien Athletic Foundation. Broadcasting live from the field, DAF Media covers 125 games a year. All Darien teams, our youth, in our town, on our fields. Fields like the Center Oval and Upper Oval turfs, the JV softball field, and Stadium East, the longest turf in New
We are back at DHS Stadium Field. Darien, a quick 13-1 lead. They've got the running clock in this one, and Darien, it has just been all-out dominance today from the Blue Wave. Braden, who's the biggest beneficiary of this lead today?
Well, it's really been the entire offense, John. I mean, Chloe Humphrey, Jillian Vaught, Kelly Holmes, they've all been adding to their cause. Normally for Darien, when you got Chloe Humphrey getting hot, the defense can try to slow her down. But then when you got players like Vaught and Hapgood and Holmes coming over to really assist, it's a truly offensive attack that you really can't stop all seven.
Yeah, I mean, when a seven-man attack has 7 high D1 committed players, it's never easy to go against them, and they really could not go wrong today. And now you've got that second line of players in that still have scored 2 so far. Here's a shot from Katie Bloomer, the Cal commit. That ground ball scooped up now.
It's good to see Katie back on the field. Missed the entire basketball season this winter with a leg injury, so it's great to see her back on the field playing some lacrosse. I know she enjoys it, and again, one more year before she heads out to the West Coast to play for Cal Berkeley.
Cal, one of the mid D1 girls lacrosse programs in the country, and it's crazy to say that someone committed to that program is only a second-line player here, but either way, I mean, it just shows how great this program is, as there's a goal from Annabelle Adams of the Blue Wave.
Adams had a big goal on Monday in the win against Garden City. Her first goal on the season. She scores another right there. Another player for this Darien team who's just a sophomore, but is really going to step up in future years for head coach Lisa Lindley's team. And that's really what Lindley does, is she gets these players playing as sophomores. Junior year gives them some more playing time, so that by their senior year, they're starting and really leading this team.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a huge part of high school is the way that you're able to mentor young guys. And when someone's a sophomore in high school, it's never easy to take someone that's probably a very raw talent and form them into a great player, but that's just something that Darien does so well, and it's something that almost no other program in the country can do to their level.
Plus, you look at a player like Anna Von Kennel, just a freshman, going to get 4 years of varsity experience for Darien. Just shows you the level that Anna plays at.
Yeah, Anna Von Kennel, I mean, let's not be surprised when she commits to one of those high D1 schools, because Darien's program is getting a whole lot of recognition this year, and a big reason for that is their other players. So when Anna Von Kennel is getting thrown into that mix, it's always good to see a player like that being brought into the program, and she'll be riding with it for years, as there's a free position for the Staples Wreckers. It's going to be Mello with it. Mello shoots, but can't score. A beautiful save from Elizabeth Ganella.
Talk about a big save. That is a fundamental save by Ganella right there. Was not fooled one bit by Mello. Makes the big save. The junior committed to Princeton. I still think she has the save of the year at Sacred Heart Greenwich in game number 2 on the season. Not even a second left on the clock. A surging Kelly Haggerty took the shot. Ganella, who just entered 2 minutes prior, made the biggest stop, gave Darien the victory in game number 2, kept him perfect, and now seeing some time in this Staples game.
And this is the reason that you need depth on a squad like this. When one player goes down, that next man up is always so important, and when you have someone that's committed to Princeton backing up the starting goalie, then it's always going to be a nice little show, and she makes an incredible play back there to keep it at a 13-goal game.
That was the big question mark for Darien entering 2023, as they lost the likes of Shea Dolce in net. Dolce now playing goalie for the Boston College Eagles, just recently named the ACC Player of the Week. And Ganella and Shodell have done a great job filling that void for Darien and giving them some solid goaltending minutes.
Vidable with a shot. That one saved by Sarmiento. She picks up the ground ball in the crease. And Staples are looking to get out and running.
Kate Vidable, the third-year varsity player on this Darien team, still looking for her first points on the season.
We've got a violation on the Blue Wave. This one's going Wrecker's way. With it is Siegel. Siegel looks to beat Von Kennel on the attack. She's got numbers, and it looks like Staples just going to calm this one down. They'll double up in the X. Siegel still with it. Now she draws the double team. That'll be a foul on Quinn Kennedy, the sophomore 5'5" defenseman for the Blue Wave.
Let's give Staples the look on the hanging hash there from the free position. It's an interesting angle for Staples. They're going to look to capitalize, retreating it back.
Yeah, Siegel's just going to back out of that one. And like you said, a weird angle that is tough to score on, especially when you kind of have to attack it very steeply. As here's a pass in and shot from Amelia Tarsi, and it's in. A beautiful play from the Staples Wreckers to put number 2 on the board.
And that's a big one from Tarsi right there, the junior, with the goal. She had a goal against Fairfield Ward on Tuesday and has her second on the season. And Staples, they're now slowly chipping away on this Darien lead, but still have a lot of work left, trailing by 12.
Tarsi, the junior, just trying to, as you say, chip away.
Or wreck away.
That's another one. There you go. And Darien looking to wave past this game. Does that one work?
Sure, it's close enough.
We'll take it.
Although for a while, Staples had the logo as the Staples S, and they had like an actual record with a hard hat and a hammer on it, and you could use that and be like, yeah, they're chipping away or wrecking away, whatever. But they recently changed it, I think, in the last 5 years or so to just the S.
Honestly, can we just bring that one back? I feel like I would love to see that on the scoreboard right here.
Plus, the fans still have the hard hats sometimes with the S on there. They'll bring the football games or whatever. I mean,
Come on.
It's definitely one of the cooler mascots in the Nutmeg State.
Doesn't get much better than that.
I mean, I don't know what the significance it is to Westport, Connecticut.
You know what? There probably is none, but what's the significance of a Blue Wave to Darien?
Well, we're on the coast.
I mean, yeah, but still, this is located a little bit further up in Darien.
That's true. I mean, Darien is still a coastal town. We've got the Long Island Sound on us.
In that case, I think every team on Long Island should have a little ocean in their name.
I think they should.
Maybe. We'll change that up a little bit. I'll bring it to the board.
Yeah. Plus, you've got a team like New Milford, who's up the coast probably a half hour, who's the Green Wave, which I can't tell if that's a shot on how clean the Long Island Sound is or really what that is.
That might just be a shot at Tulane, in all honesty. I mean,
it might.
Darien already copied their logo, and now the Green Wave is really taking another shot at it.
Technically, by copyright rules, we did flip it and change the color, so...
I'm so very sorry.
No, I mean, it is the same logo. It's the Angry Wave. We changed some coloring, maybe flipped it.
Gets the job done, though. That's what matters.
I mean, it's better than some teams in our conference, like Greenwich, Connecticut, who literally took the Arizona Cardinals logo straight up.
Yeah, that's fair. By where I live, you've got the East Meadow Jets, and quite literally, it is the exact Jets logo for the New York Jets, that is. And they just replaced New York with East Meadow and made it yellow and blue instead.
Perfect. Plus, then you get those parents that show up on the tailgates and they just deck out with the NFL gear, and they've got all this team-authenticated stuff, the cornhole boards, the flags.
You know what? It might be a good move at the end of the day
for
those NFL teams, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Here comes Siegel. Siegel now down at the fan, tries bouncing it, but goes over. Siegel will take it from X. Quickly defended by the likes of Kate Min.
Min, the senior, committed to Bowdoin for Darien, a soccer player in the fall. That's her start here on this lacrosse team. See some time.
Bowdoin in the NESCAC, 9-7 this year. Here's a shot from Shannon Lynch, the senior captain.
That was smooth, I've got to say, just knowing Bowdoin's status right now in the NESCAC or whatever.
Thank you. I mean, I try my best.
Only people are like, where is Bowdoin? Not, they're 9-7.
They are in Maine, if you were curious. Bowdoin, Maine, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. The Polar Bears?
Yeah. They got a pretty cool logo, I must say.
Oh, it's a great logo.
Here's Darien on the attack. Doubling up at X, it's Annabelle Adams.
Adams, another product of Mo Minikis' Darien field hockey team, the FCIAC and state champions in the fall. And talk about dominance. That team, I think, scored 150 goals compared to giving up 10 all season. Pure dominance for the Blue Wave field hockey team. Mo Minikis, another legendary coach at this Blue Wave program.
Down the alley and right at the doorstep, a shot from Hope Hapgood. That one's going to be going right back with Darien. Looks like it'll be a free position for the Blue Wave. Yes, it will. It's Hapgood on it. Can the sophomore convert? Shot in. Easy does it For Hope Hapgood, the sophomore, 5'5" right-handed midi.
Talk about another lacrosse family in Darien. How about the Hapgoods, Hope and Ryan Hapgood? Their father, Scott Hapgood, a big player for Darien back, I think, in the 80s. I want to say, could be wrong with that. Definitely in the early stages of Darien's boys lacrosse program, but truly a lacrosse family. Hope Hapgood gets her second on the goal, scored on Monday against Garden City from the free position. And again, another sophomore seeing some time for Darien.
Yeah, and you talk about sophomores that are being brought up into the program. Let's just go over her interest for a second. This is all according to Inside Lacrosse, so do not, if you want to cite my sources, there it is. She's got interest from UPenn, Yale, USC, Dartmouth, University of Michigan, Duke, Georgetown, and Richmond. Wow. Does it get much better than that?
No, it really doesn't. Wish I had those colleges coming after me.
I wish I could get into any of those colleges.
I think you got like the 4.0 GPA. You could get into one of them.
You know what? Chaminade works a little differently. Maybe if I had like a 99 average over there, I'd have a shot. But
okay.
Unfortunately, we're not there just yet. We're not too far off, but we're not there.
Oh, well, you could play. You go to Syracuse next year. The beautiful weather up there.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Plus, you'll get to see Kayla Trainer, Syracuse Orange, one of the top teams in the country next year.
Also be joined by Casey Benoit up there when she joins the girls lacrosse team. Yeah, it should be pretty interesting.
Well, I've got to ask, though, which venue do you think is better, the Darien High School Stadium Field, Gold Star Stadium, or the Carrier Dome?
I mean, you know which one goes one. You know. It's the Carrier Dome, of course.
Or what is it, the JMA Wireless now?
Oh, we don't even talk about that. I mean, I'm not even like a ride or die Syracuse type of person, but even I know enough to not call it the JMA Wireless Dome.
Talk about corporate advertising, folks.
Hey, but you know what? I did get to go in there not once, but twice. I saw their game against Hope Art, that one was great. Spalina, 3 goals. He went to Mount Sinai out on Long Island. He was the #1 ranked player in this class. Now he's over at Syracuse, killing it. Won All AAC Player of the Week.
What you're saying is Chloe Humphrey's going to kill it then in NCAA next year for North Carolina?
You know what? I'm going to have to say she will. I mean, she plays on a field where their lines are UNC blue. It's just so many signs.
Plus, you can't get a much better venue than Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Oh, absolutely not.
And the ACC is some real women's lacrosse out there.
When the lights are brightest, that's when Chloe Humphrey comes to play. So I think she'll have just a dandy time over at UNC.
Especially the lights on a 10 a.m. Sunday or 10 a.m. on a Thursday.
Oh, I mean, this one's just beaming down right now. In a 15-2 game, here's the free position shot and in from Jillian Vaughn. Excuse me, that's Paige Flanagan on it. Flanagan, the senior attacker, standing at 5'7" with a good position right there. And she converts, making it 16-2.
Another big one for Darien. They are just going to keep on rolling with this game, a 14-goal lead, and all Staples really can do at this point is hope for a miracle, hope the offense can get going. 2 goals this far is not what they were looking for. I think they were looking to play Darien a little bit tighter, but 16-4 is definitely a good showing for Darien. They continue the offensive showing so far. I mean, they've had double digits in every game but one this year, and that was against Sacred Heart Greenwich, who is a private school that they didn't know much about.
Yeah, and Sacred Heart Greenwich, I mean, when you don't know much about an opponent, it's tough to go against them and come out with a big win. But that one was big in the sense of a big moment, a 9-8 victory in that one to get their second win of the season, and they're looking for number 6 on the year today.
They are indeed, and it's always interesting when the public school circuit meets the private school circuit because they're 2 different scales. You could have the worst team in the private school league, and they can compete with the public school. You look at a scenario like our girls' ice hockey team, who won the FCIAC in state, went undefeated. They played Greenwich Academy, who went 2-8-2 on the season, but they tied both games with Darien somehow.
Yeah.
So it really is 2 different scales, if you will, the private and the public school, which is great for Darien to play them at a conference, add these tough games on there because they play a harder schedule 9 times out of 10.
This reminds me of my high school, Chaminade. They played last year against Manhasset. Manhasset, one of the top 25 public school team in the country. They were, I believe, I say public schools, but they were, I want to say, number 10 at the time that they played them. They go into Manhasset for the Reeves Rock game, one of the biggest games in the Long Island stage, and they beat them 17-9 in an all-out battle that Chaminade just played one of their best games of the year against a very good public school opponent and a very good public school player that has just scored for Darien, Katie Bloomer, getting herself on the stat sheet.
A senior off to Cal Berkeley has her first goal in this game, rather. Again, her 3rd year on this team. Saw some time in the past couple games, but it's great to see Katie back on the field. She scores the goal for Darien.
Darien now up 17-2 with just under 11 minutes to go here for the Blue Wave.
Darien goal scored by
And Darien hasn't played many games in league this year. In fact, this is just number 2. But they have played phenomenal in their in-league games.
And it's interesting as Grace Hanley checks in the place of number 12, Summer Galende. Darien has officially used everyone on their roster in this contest. So everybody's getting some playing time out there.
It'll be a violation on the draw from from Bloomer. So Staples is going to get possession, but can Jaden Mello run that one down? She cannot. So Darien's coming right back down with it.
Now Hanley in transition with it. And again,
they get the clear. Bloomer gets it up. Now here's Hapgood. Hapgood loses it. It goes straight into the stick of Shannon Lynch. Lynch being tracked down by 4. She's on the far side. 6 people now coming down for Darien.
this is the thing for Staples. At this point, they're looking for experience. They've got some tough contests left this year. But the big thing for Staples is today starts a 2, 4, 6, 7 game road stretch for Staples. For some reason, the first half of their schedule is very road heavy, and then they don't take another road game once they hit the month of May. So an interesting schedule configuration for Staples, but today is the first of many road trips the Wreckers will take. Plus, I can only imagine having to take 7 road trips in a row. I mean, that's your entire month of April is on the road.
That is definitely not the best. It's a whole lot of flight hours, I would assume. Probably some busing, too, in there.
Well, there's no flights. They play every team in state, so still, though, a lot of traveling you got to be doing, and especially if you look at, 8 out of the first 9 contests are on the road. But then again, you hit May, and then your final 7 games are at home at Ginny Parker Fields.
That'll be a nice little home stint. Here's the shot from Jaden Mello. Mello can't convert. Nice save there from Ganella. Ground ball is picked up by Alex Hackett, the sophomore.
It's good to see Ganella commanding the defensive right there, really putting him in position, filling the holes that Staples is not getting any open looks. Plus, Ganella's got the size and net and the great stick work to really be a solid goaltender for Darien. Again, a junior will be coming back next year, or should be coming back next year.
Hackett loses it, and Darien is now in transition. Here we go. It's Katie Walsh. Walsh dishes off. Straight at the doorstep. No good on the shot is Annabelle Adams. Darien retrieves it. Staples with a nice check and win. Here comes Caroline Cooper, the junior captain. Cooper gets tracked down from behind. What a play by Hope Hapgood.
And that's a big-time play by a big-time sophomore right there for Darien. Just being able to come over, help strip the ball of Caroline Cooper. And especially a player like Cooper, it's a rare turnover for her, and now Darien's got the ball right back.
Darien just looking to set up the offense, take some time off this clock. Just 7.5 minutes to go. Here from Southside CT.
Darien just going to move it around, look for an opportunity. 7:15 left, and it's always good to run some new plays, new offense here to really move ahead once you hit postseason play. Plus, it's a beautiful day out here for some lacrosse. I think they could play 2. You know,
yeah.
Run it back out, play a second.
Absolutely. Really nice save right there from Tam Morgan, the junior. That shot came from Annabelle Novak, the junior Holy Cross commit. Or rather, that was Kate Avidable on the shot. Avidable also heading to Holy Cross, but a senior rather than a junior. Now it seems as if it will be a Staples timeout.
Yeah, and head coach Nicole Jarosa is just going to talk some things over with her team, stop the clock, maybe give them a breather or so. It's been a running clock the entire second half, so they've been running around for the last 20 minutes. Just give them some water out here, make sure everybody stays hydrated, and play the final 6:49 with a lot of intensity.
Darien, a fun little schedule coming up. How do you see this upcoming schedule for Darien going?
Well, they play two nationally ranked opponents. They go to Maryland on Saturday to take on the St. Paul's School for Girls. Luckily for Darien, St. Paul's fell to McDonough earlier this week, so they don't come in undefeated, but they are the number 3 team in the country, and it should be a great game, but even better, a better time for Darien playing at the USA Lacrosse headquarters. And they welcome in Richfield next week for a home game, which the Tigers are currently undefeated, so it's going to be a tough game before they go back out to Long Island to play Ward Melville, another 10 a.m. game. The big thing for that one, the bus drag. You're leaving from Darien for a 10 a.m. opening draw at Ward Melville. It's going to be a tough game against a good Patriots team, but if Darien keeps playing like this, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Darien, there's really not many places that you can say they've gone wrong all season, if any, at this point. But this schedule coming up, you play a bunch of nationally ranked opponents, so you really have to stay on your A game. And this Staples game, although they have won in a very commanding way, you do have to prepare yourself for that top level of competition. So maybe this isn't the best game to follow up with a big game against St. Paul's in Maryland, but either way, a team like this with such good talent, it's just going to take a little bit of adjusting to do when you get really into that game time.
It is indeed, and Darien, they've got another stretch like this. They play Ward Melville next week. Then they take on Norwalk in a Division I versus a Division II matchup before the 3-game stretch that I'm most excited for. They play number 4 New Canaan at Dunning Field, number 12 St. Anthony's at Cold Spring Harbor in that tournament. And then they welcome in the number 19 in the country, the Wilton Warriors. So that's another big 3-game home stretch that they play, or 3-game stretch where they play nationally ranked opponents. Again, with Norwalk kind of thrown in there. So some interesting scheduling tactics, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure on it, but I believe those FCIAC games are scheduled beforehand before Lisa Lindley can schedule those out-of-conference contests.
Yeah, exactly, and that's just a really good job, not only with scheduling, you get to play some really good competition all the way through, and then you kind of get to level out a little bit in the FCIAC when you play in the games that you could say really matter, in the sense that you want to win a championship no matter what in your league, and then you move on to states and play really, really high-ranked games. But still, you want to play the best competition possible and prove that this 2023 lacrosse roster is one of the best in Darien women's lacrosse history.
And the big thing for Darien, they've not won the FCIAC since 2019. They've been defeated by New Canaan the last couple of years in the FCIAC championship, and the state tournament 2021, the last time they won that, again falling to New Canaan. So they know the Rams are going to be their biggest competition, and they got to have an answer to Kristen Wood's New Canaan Rams, or else they could be another exit in the championship game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when two of the best teams in the entire country are both in the same conference, it's never easy in a championship game against the likes of New Canaan. New Canaan, just a powerhouse in nearly all sports. So it definitely will be interesting to see how that one plays out. If it does at the end of the day, because there is still a lot of room to go for this Darien squad. But it's been an incredible start as Staples forces the turnover.
Actually, believe it or not, soccer, a weak sport for New Canaan. Called a couple soccer games Darien New Canaan this year, and I have the same mentality you. They're good at every sport. I saw the records. I'm like, is this the same New Canaan? I think the girls went like 2-8 this year, and the boys 3-10, I want to say. So it's definitely interesting, but a good program over in New Canaan, Connecticut, and something that they've built up, again, with some of the best coaches in the world. You've got Lou Marinelli leading the football team, Chip Buzzio over for the boys lacrosse team, and Darien New Canaan, it's the rivalry of the FCIAC in southwestern Connecticut. In a way, it's almost the St. Anthony's Chaminade rivalry, but it's Darien New Canaan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the competition of teams, let's say, on Long Island, just comparing it back to a place that I know probably best, Chaminade and St. Anthony's, two schools that they really dominate everything. There's really not one sport that you could point at and say, it's not their best. But, I mean, one thing this year that's going to be new for Chaminade is they're introducing a rugby team. So I don't know how that one's going to go.
I've got to say, if you get the chance, you should call a rugby match. Those are so fun to watch.
I would love to, but the only thing is I don't think they're going to be playing on Chaminade turf because the field just isn't big enough.
Isn't it the same dimensions? Actually, don't you cut the end zones off at Chaminade?
Yeah, we do. They actually have to put some turf on the track so that they can round out the end zones. Because the space itself is not really big enough to hold a full football field if you want to have that track as well. But yeah, I don't know how the first year of rugby is going to go, but they've hired some outside talent, a former All-American, I believe. So should be interesting to see how the first year plays out. But St. Anthony's a really solid rugby team, and then also they play a bunch of the city schools, and the teams in New York City are all the ones that are like nationally ranked. So they're just going to have to feel out their schedule and see how their first year of rugby goes as the Flyers squad.
Yeah, rugby is a fun sport. I know Darien, they welcomed in Fordham Prep last year for an out-of-conference game to Darien High School, and I I got to say, John McCarthy, he's got to be looking at Chaminade for a good out-of-conference game. That'd be a fun one for both teams to play, the Wave and the Flyers. I think Darien, they've been around for 40 years now as a varsity sport. They started as a club team, and again, for as fun as it is, it's definitely a tough sport to play, very intensively grueling, and but everybody loves it. Such a fun sport. Grueling
was the word that I was going to use. It's labor-intensive, a lot of cardio that goes into it, but it should be a fun little matchup. If Darien and Chaminade ever match up, I would have to assume that if it's a little bit too early, Darien would unfortunately come out with a win there, especially for a program that's been around for 40-plus years. Yeah. But either way, Chaminade just looking to build up, and playing some city competition right away should be fun.
I'll tell you a story later, not on the broadcast, might be a little bit too disgusting for people. Of the broadcast we did last year for rugby, where one of our crew members almost fainted of something that happens. Ooh. Very grueling injury.
That doesn't sound fun. The crew member almost fainted.
Just witnessing the injury. A lot of blood. That's a goal for Staples right there. They're looking to stop the bleeding.
Good reference right there. Stop the bleeding.
Staples
I like that.
Scored by
Staples now make it 17-3 with 2.5 to go here in this one. Kira Best striking for her second of the game.
And again, a junior that will really look to lead this team next year. Coming back, one of 9 juniors on this team, the biggest class for Staples. So a lot of work that Staples will have next year, especially when you return actually 3 goalkeepers, Alice Anderson, Athenia Saramento, Morgan Tam. So 3 goalies coming back for Staples, looking to replace Dia Giovanni from last year. And I think that's the big thing for Staples is you lose a lot of talent last year. You kind of have a rebuilding year in 2023, but then 2024, you hit the ground running, look to get back to your winning ways in Westport, Connecticut.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Staples, they've done a great job throughout the years, and although their team may not be at the exact level that they have been in past times, as I said, this is more of a rebuild year. This is a year where you get your young players a lot of confidence, and, you know, as you said, 5 freshmen on this squad, a lot of juniors. This team is littered with talent all over the place, but a year of development is exactly what this team needs to really progress within the next 2.
Especially with the new division realignments, you're basically going in a conference where you're the weakest team in Division I. I mean, you've got the likes of Darien, New Canaan, Richfield, Wilton, Greenwich, who all come off great seasons from last year, so you're kind of the weakest team in Division I. But again, with assuming these divisions stand, you're going to have time to build your way back up and become a powerhouse in Division I.
And Staples a powerhouse in almost every other sport, so it makes sense that, you know, at least one of them has to have a down year, and it's going to happen from time to time in everything. And, you know, this is just one of those down years, unfortunately, but there's still so much time to build back up and be the program that you know and love.
I mean, I look at Will Koshansky's boys team at Staples High School. They had a down year about 3 years ago. Now they're the number 22 team in the country. They took down Darien in the state championship. Darien plays Staples on Saturday at Staples Stadium. And the Wreckers are one of the top teams in Connecticut and the state, again, because they have the young talent. They breed them out, and then they're back to their winning ways.
Firing down the field, it's Amelia Tarsi. She loses it, though, as Darien scoops up the ground ball. It's Greta Kosnick on it. Kosnick flips it over to Reynolds. Reynolds finds a man and converts. It's Greta Kosnick again. The beneficiary of that play, the junior attackman, stands at 5'9", and she finds her way straight to the rack there.
Buzzer beater, if you will.
And that it was. Darien close out this game 18-3 in a huge performance for the Blue Wave. And how does this help them going into the future, Braden?
Well, I think it's good to get a lot of players some experience. Every girl on this Darien team played today, so they all got some exercise out there, got some playing time. So it's great to move forward. You got a lot of girls some experience and some good playing time out there. And now they shift their attention to St. Paul's on Saturday.
A great game that we have here today. And Darien, as you said, going to shift their attention to the game in the future that they have in Maryland against St. Paul's. And St. Paul's, I mean, just an incredible squad, incredible roster. Darien advanced to 6-0. Staples drop back to 1-3 on the season.
Yeah, and John, I want to thank you for coming out on this Saturday morning. Thursday morning. It feels like a Saturday. Nonetheless, we've got a second game coming up, Darien Chaminade. I want to thank our production crew for coming out on this Thursday morning. Will Donnelly, Andrew Lee, Liam Tomaszewski, Jamie DeMarc, Johnny Cavello, or I don't think I said that right. My apology. Cavoli, my apologies. Our advisor, Damian Andrew, and thank you, John, for coming out.
Thank you guys for having me here. Really excited. I mean, it's going to be a nice doubleheader here. First game was amazing. Now we just got to look forward to the second.
Yep, it's going to be an interesting one. And Darien got a commanding win in Game 1, looking for the sweep in Game 2.
wrap it up for him.
So 18-3, Darien takes down Staples. And we're back at 1 o'clock. Darien Chaminade.
Back at 1 o'clock. That'll do it here from DHS Stadium. I'm John Baccio here with Braden Schenk. Meet us back here in an hour.